Alerting Boeing is leaving. The aerospace giant is moving its headquarters to Arlington, Virginia, saying it wants to be close to key customers like the Pentagon. Boeing came to Chicago back in 2001, setting up at this high-rise on the near west.
The panic begins. You can feel it in the air before the press conference even starts. The hurried meetings behind closed doors at the Illinois state capitol. The frantic damage control calls between the governor's office and Chicago's business leaders. The quiet dread spreading through political circles as they realize what just happened. Right now, Governor J.B. Pritzker faces a crisis that threatens Illinois' economic credibility, and the announcement that triggered it sends shockwaves through the entire state. Boeing, one of America's most iconic aerospace giants, is abandoning Chicago after 2 decades. This decision strikes at the heart of Illinois' identity. Boeing didn't just occupy office space in Chicago. The company represented prestige, global reach, and economic stability. When Boeing moved its headquarters to Chicago in 2001, Illinois celebrated. Politicians took credit. Business leaders called it validation that Chicago competed with any American city for corporate headquarters. The move symbolized Chicago's arrival as a true global business hub. Now Boeing executives confirm they're relocating headquarters to Arlington, Virginia, closer to federal decision-makers and defense contracts that drive massive revenue streams. The departure strips Chicago of a Fortune 50 company, eliminates hundreds of high-paying corporate jobs, and sends an unmistakable message to every other major corporation. Even industry titans find better options elsewhere. Why Governor Pritzker panics? The political fallout hits Pritzker immediately. Losing Boeing on his watch becomes ammunition for opponents who argue Illinois drives businesses away with high taxes, burdensome regulations, and chronic fiscal dysfunction. Campaign ads write themselves. Images of Boeing's iconic logo being removed from Chicago buildings. Headlines screaming about corporate exodus. Pritzker scrambles to control the narrative. His press team releases statements emphasizing that Boeing maintains significant manufacturing operations in Illinois, employing thousands at facilities across the state. They highlight ongoing partnerships and economic ties that won't disappear overnight. They argue headquarters relocations happen for strategic reasons unrelated to state policy. But voters understand symbolism. They recognize that when a company like Boeing chooses Virginia over Illinois for its corporate headquarters, it reflects poorly on the state's business environment. The optics devastate any governor's economic credentials, regardless of nuanced explanations about proximity to Pentagon procurement offices. The immediate economic impact. Boeing's headquarters departure costs Chicago approximately 500 high-salary corporate positions. These aren't assembly line jobs or mid-level administrative roles. These positions include executives, strategic planners, communications directors, and senior management earning 6-figure salaries. Their departure removes millions in annual payroll from Chicago's economy. The ripple effects spread quickly. Restaurants near Boeing's headquarters lose regular business lunch crowds. Downtown hotels lose corporate travel bookings. Office suppliers, catering services, and professional service providers who counted Boeing among their clients watch revenue disappear. Commercial real estate takes another hit as Boeing's vacated headquarters space adds to Chicago's already troubling office vacancy rates. Beyond direct economic losses, Boeing's exit damages Chicago's reputation as a corporate headquarters destination. Other companies evaluating potential moves now see concrete evidence that even established Fortune 50 firms choose alternatives over Illinois. That perception shift costs the state opportunities to attract or retain businesses considering similar decisions. The crisis extends beyond economics into political survival for a governor who needs answers. The real reasons behind Boeing's exit, Boeing executives cite strategics, positioning as their primary motivation for leaving Chicago. Arlington, Virginia sits minutes from the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, and key congressional offices that influence aerospace contracts worth billions annually. Face-to-face access to military procurement officials, senators on defense appropriations committees, and executive branch decision-makers provides competitive advantages Chicago cannot match geographically. Defense contracts drive Boeing's revenue stream. The company competes intensely for military aircraft orders, satellite systems, and advanced weapons platforms. Physical proximity to decision-makers who award these contracts matters tremendously. A Chicago headquarters meant Boeing executives spent countless hours traveling to Washington for crucial meetings that competitors based on the East Coast handled with short drives. But geography tells only part of the story. Boeing's leadership also evaluated Illinois' business climate, tax structure, and regulatory environment during their relocation analysis. What they found reinforced their decision to leave. Illinois maintains some of America's highest corporate tax rates. The state's chronic budget deficits create uncertainty about future tax increases. Political dysfunction produces unpredictable policy shifts that complicate long-term strategic planning. Illinois' pattern of corporate departures. Boeing joins a troubling list of major corporations that recently abandoned Illinois headquarters. Caterpillar, the heavy equipment manufacturer, relocated from Peoria to Texas. Citadel, the massive hedge fund, moved from Chicago to Miami. Ken Griffin, Citadel's billionaire founder, explicitly blamed Illinois' crime rates, tax policies, and governance failures when announcing his departure. Each exodus follows similar patterns. Company leadership grows frustrated with Illinois' tax burden. They question whether state government can address basic governance challenges like pension, obligations, or balanced budgets. They evaluate alternatives and discover states offering lower taxes, better business climates, and more responsive government partnerships. The departures accelerate. Once a few high-profile companies leave, others reconsider their own presence. Employees at remaining firms watch competitors relocate and wonder whether their employers will follow. Talented workers consider opportunities in states their industry increasingly favors. The cycle feeds itself, creating momentum toward further departures. What competitors provide Illinois still maintains significant advantages. Chicago offers world-class universities producing skilled graduates. O'Hare International Airport provides global connectivity. The city features cultural institutions and urban amenities that attract talent. Manufacturing expertise and diverse economy create genuine strengths. But competitor states aggressively court corporations with compelling alternatives. Texas offers zero state income tax and lower cost of living. Florida provides similar tax advantages plus warm weather. Virginia combines reasonable taxation with proximity to federal government centers that matter for defense contractors. These states don't wait for companies to approach them. Economic development officials actively recruit Illinois firms, offering customized incentive packages and streamlined permitting. Illinois increasingly loses these competitions because it fails to leverage advantages while competitors execute superior strategies. The political pressure mounts. Pritzker faces mounting criticism from multiple directions. Republican opponents hammer him for creating conditions that drive employers away. Business groups demand policy reforms addressing taxation and fiscal stability. Labor unions worry about manufacturing job losses. Media coverage amplifies every negative angle, turning Boeing's departure into a referendum on economic stewardship. The workers Boeing leaves behind Boeing's. Headquarters relocation affects real people whose careers face sudden uncertainty. Sarah worked in Boeing's Chicago communications department for 12 years. She built relationships, earned promotions, and assumed her corporate career would continue in the city where she owns a home and raised children. Now Boeing offers her a choice: relocate to Virginia or find new employment. Relocation sounds simple until you consider reality. Sarah's spouse works in Chicago. Her kids attend local schools. Her aging parents live nearby and depend on her support. Selling a Chicago home in a soft market, buying an expensive Arlington, and uprooting teenagers creates costs beyond salary. Many employees choose to stay, accepting severance and searching for comparable positions in a competitive market. The ripple effects touch everyone connected to these workers. Restaurants lose regular customers. Local businesses lose patrons. The neighborhood coffee shop where Boeing employees stopped every morning sees revenue drop. These aren't dramatic losses individually, but collectively they represent economic bleed that follows corporate departures. What Boeing's exit signals. Boeing's relocation sends unmistakable messages to other major corporations evaluating Illinois. The state cannot retain even established Fortune 50 headquarters when competitors offer superior business environments. Illinois political leadership lacks tools to prevent high-profile corporate departures. The trajectory points toward continued exodus. Other CEOs watch Boeing leave and ask their teams to evaluate alternatives. Finance chiefs compare Illinois tax burdens against Florida or Texas advantages. Strategic planners incorporate Illinois departure scenarios into forecasts. The psychological shift matters as much as immediate economic impact. Illinois transitions from a state that attracts corporations to one that companies actively consider leaving. That perception becomes self-fulfilling. Talented workers avoid Illinois opportunities. Investors discount Illinois-based companies. Economic competitiveness erodes with each headquarters departure. What comes next? Governor Pritzker confronts uncomfortable choices. He can pursue aggressive policy reforms that business leaders demand but his political base opposes. He can continue current approaches while watching more corporations leave. or he can attempt symbolic gestures that satisfy neither business interests nor progressive constituencies. The Boeing departure crystallizes Illinois' fundamental challenge. The state maintains genuine assets, including infrastructure, universities, and diverse industries. But systemic problems, including pension obligations, political dysfunction, and tax burdens, create disadvantages that competitors exploit. Fixing these issues requires political courage and consensus that Illinois has failed to generate. The question isn't whether more companies will leave. They will. The question is whether Illinois leadership acknowledges the crisis and implements reforms before exodus becomes irreversible. Boeing's departure offers a warning. Whether Illinois heeds that warning determines whether the state stabilizes its economy or continues sliding toward decline that drives more employers and opportunity elsewhere. If this breakdown helped you understand what Boeing's departure really means for Illinois, hit subscribe and share this video. Because corporate relocations affect more than executives and politicians. They reshape communities, impact workers' lives, and signal whether states compete successfully in America's economic landscape.